everybody, welcome back to Raising the Rogers Homestead. Today we're going to be in the kitchen and I'm going to show you how I like to make 3 of our favorite condiments from scratch. If you've never made anything from scratch, it can be very overwhelming to think about it because you just think it's a lot harder than it actually is, or at least it was for me before I got started. The first time that I made mayonnaise from scratch, I was absolutely flabbergasted at how easy it was. And I was like, why does everybody not make this from scratch? Why is this not common knowledge that you can even do this? So I'm hoping that with today's video, I will help give you the confidence to try to make some more things from scratch that you use in your house. So the 3 condiments that we're going to be making today are mayonnaise, honey mustard, and ranch. I made a short showing how to make mayonnaise already, but we're going to make it again, and obviously slower than a short. Because it's going to be the base for the next 2 things that we're going to make. So all you need for mayonnaise, and this is just how I make it, there are other ways to make it, so you can kind of experiment and see what you like. All you need, I like to make mine in a quart-sized jar. You need oil of your choice. I like to use avocado oil, but you can also use canola or vegetable oil, or I don't know, experiment with what other kinds that you have or that you like to use. I'll use white wine vinegar and red wine vinegar, but you can also just use regular like distilled vinegar. And then Dijon mustard, an egg, salt and sugar, and that's it. So let's get started. So the first thing that you're gonna do is pour your oil into your, if I can get the lid off, into your quart-sized jar. All of the recipes for these will be in the description because I am terrible at following a recipe. I just kind of eyeball it. But if you are not somebody who likes to eyeball and you like measurements like until you get comfortable with stuff, then the recipe will be typed out for you in the description. So I like to use these because the measurements are on the jar. So you're going to start with 1.5 cups of oil. So we have that. 1 egg, and you just crack that right in the jar. Another thing that makes this so easy is that you're going to make it all in the same jar that you're going to store it in. So it makes it very quick and simple. I think the recipe calls for a 1/4 teaspoon of sugar, but you can also just do a pinch because it's a lot easier. You don't have to use a measuring spoon, and it's about the same. So I like to do a little pinch of sugar, and then roughly a 1/4 teaspoon to a whole teaspoon of salt, depending on if you like your food more salty or not. If you are someone who has to watch your sodium, then you can do a little bit less and just kind of play with it. You also need 4 teaspoons of vinegar. Like I said, I like to use red wine and white wine, so I do roughly 2 teaspoons of each, and all I do for that is like 2 little squeezes of the bottle. It doesn't have to be exact. So that's it. And then you also need Dijon mustard. I believe that the recipe says 3 tablespoons. Again, I don't measure. I just do it. So you can do more or less. For me, a squeeze is about a tablespoon. So again, it will all be in the description below because I know that this is probably confusing. I just be doing it over here. All right, so I'm gonna change the view so that you can see how quickly this all comes together. So I have my jar with all of my stuff in it, and I have my stick blender. We'll link this also. This is a Kitchenaid, so it's a little bit more expensive, but I will also link a good off-brand option for you also for one that's a little bit cheaper. So you just stick this in here and turn it on. And there you have it. It really is that simple and that fast, and you only need 6 ingredients, and you have homemade mayonnaise, and I promise you that it is so much better than anything that you get from the store. And all you have to wash is the end of your stick blender, unless you used measuring spoons, and then you got to wash those too. The next condiment that we're going to be making is honey mustard. So like I said in the beginning, the mayonnaise that we just made is going to be the base for the next 2 recipes. So we're going to start with the mayonnaise that we just made, and you're going to put about a 1/4 cup of it into a pint-sized mason jar. Again, these have, the measurements on the side, and if it's not exact, it's totally fine. So you have your 1/4 cup of mayonnaise in your mason jar, and next you're going to add another 1/4 cup or so of honey to it, and that will fill it up to the 1/2 cup line. So I just like to take my honey and squeeze it in until it's about a 1/4 cup. Again, if this stresses you out and you like to use measuring cups for everything, measure it out. It'll all end up the same. So it looks different because of just how the mayonnaise is laying, but there's about a 1/4 cup of mayonnaise and a 1/4 cup of honey so far. So the next thing you're gonna do is add about 1/3 of a cup of Dijon mustard. So here I have most of my main ingredients. The next thing that you add is about a tablespoon of lemon juice, or you can use vinegar. If you have fresh lemon, go ahead and squeeze that. If not, grab you a bottle of lemon juice and use that. I do not typically have fresh lemons on hand like all the time. If I think ahead for things, then I'll get them at the store. But if not, I like to have a bottle of lemon juice on hand just for things like this that I only need a little bit. So you just need a tablespoon of lemon juice. And then one thing that I will be using a measuring cup for is to measure out the cayenne pepper, because I'm not trying to get a little too much because the kids will not eat it. So the last ingredient for this is a 1/4 cup of cayenne pepper, and you just dump that in there and mix it all together, and it's that simple. Once you have everything in your jar, all you have to do is stir it together and you have homemade honey mustard. It really is that simple and that fast. For me, it kind of resembles a O'Charley's honey mustard, if you're familiar with that. And that has kind of always been like our personal family favorite. And I honestly could not believe how few ingredients and how quickly it comes together, because if you were to buy it at the store, you would have a small paragraph of ingredients when they're not necessary. The last thing we're going to make today is homemade ranch. So the first thing that you need is a 1/2 cup of the mayonnaise that we already made, and a 1/2 cup of either sour cream or Greek yogurt. We personally use Greek yogurt instead of sour cream, but if that's not your jam, you can use sour cream. So put both of those, a 1/2 cup of mayonnaise and a 1/2 cup of either sour cream or Greek yogurt, in your jar. Once you have equal parts mayonnaise and Greek yogurt in your jar, or sour cream, the next thing you're gonna add is your liquid. You can either use buttermilk or regular milk. We made pancakes this morning and I used the last of the buttermilk that I had made, and I have not made butter today. So I'm just gonna use regular milk. You can use either anywhere from a 1/4 cup to a 1/2 cup of liquid, depending on how thick you like your how thick you like your ranch. So just whatever your personal preference is, or your family's preference, do that. So we like ours a little on the thicker side, so I just add a 1/4 cup of liquid to it, and so it should look like this. And again, I just make all of these in mason jars because I have the lids for them, and I can make it and store it all in the same jar, and it makes it super simple. If you would like to put it in a different container, you can do that, or mix it in a bowl if that's easier for you to mix it. Just whatever you like to do. I just personally use mason jars for a lot of things. Once you have all of that combined really well, the next thing that you do is add in all of your seasonings. You're gonna need all of these, which are dill, parsley, salt, pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder, and that's you're gonna need roughly a teaspoon for one serving of ranch. You can double or triple this if you need more of it at one time. You need about a teaspoon of dill, and then a half a teaspoon of all the other seasonings, and they will be typed out for you below in the description. Once you have all of your seasonings added, just give it a good stir. And one thing that I also forgot to add is about a half a tablespoon of lemon juice. So mix all of that together. And there you have it, guys. You have it all stirred together. You just made homemade ranch. My personal preference is to make this the day before you need it, or just keep a jar sitting in the refrigerator, because to me it gets better with time once everything has all the flavors have time to kind of come together. You can use it immediately, but to me it's better once you have waited a little bit. So I hope that this video today was helpful for you, to show you how simple it can be to make your own condiments at home. These are 3 that I keep in our refrigerator pretty much all the time because we like to eat them on a lot of things. So if you enjoyed this video, please let us know below. If you're not already, subscribe to our channel. And if you like following along for recipes and other things like that, follow us on our Instagram. I am pretty much always showing things that I cook and what we're doing during the day, and I love to share recipes and stuff. So give us a follow there also, and we'll see you next time.